Everybody, this is Patrick Cushing from WorkHands, and today I've got Danielle Rose from Forsyth Technical. I'm going to let her introduce herself. And Danielle, can you tell us a little bit about your experience with apprenticeship, your role at Forsyth, and anything else that would give us context to your answers here?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Danielle Rose. I'm the Director of Experiential Learning here at Forsyth Tech. We are in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. So if you go directly over from Raleigh and up from Charlotte, you get to us. We're kind of in the foothills. We're a mid-sized city of about 250 to 300,000 people. And 5 years ago, our community college started this program called LEAP, or the Learn and Earn Apprenticeship Program. And what it is it's a college-sponsored apprenticeship program, and we just signed our 50th employer partner. And so as a sponsor, we're doing the paperwork, the documentation that everybody is so scared of, even though it's not scary. And then our employer partners sign on with us, and we then are education and employer partners together throughout that apprenticeship journey. We currently are running, over a dozen occupations, mostly in manufacturing, transportation. We're trying to get into healthcare a little bit. That's kind of the next up and coming apprenticeship world. And we are about to sign our 150th apprentice. And so we're just rocking and rolling.
Fantastic intro. Love it. Okay, Danielle, I've got one question for everybody who comes on here.
Okay.
From your perspective, from your experience, how do we make apprenticeship simpler?
Well, that is a loaded question. So I could probably talk all day about it, but I'm going to go with a topic that I was just talking to some employers about earlier today, and that is on the recruitment side. As an employer, I think you can make your apprenticeship program simpler by not pigeonholing who you are recruiting. I think a lot of people think of, and I'm talking more through the manufacturing lens, just to say that most people are thinking of the 17, 18, 19-year-old male that's coming out of a trade program in high school. And what they're not thinking of is the females that might be interested in the world of manufacturing, and also the incumbent workers. And I think those within your own four walls are the perfect candidates for your apprentices. And I'll give you an example. We have a very large manufacturer in town, over 800 employees. They wanted to join LEAP, and they were really concerned about going into the high schools and competing with all the other companies, trying to find that perfect apprentice. And so when we started, looking at their current workforce, they actually had about a quarter of their employees through a temp agency, and they were working in roles such as an assembler or something that maybe didn't require a degree. Well, they had two employees that right away they thought of. They said, okay, they've been here over a year. They show up every day. They work overtime. They're committed to the company. Well, you're looking for maintenance technicians. Might they be interested? And so they had a conversation with those two employees, and both of them, first of all, were thrilled that the company noticed them, and then also put a lot of thought into, well, might I want to go back and get a degree? And could I do this through apprenticeships? And so both of those students now have their journey worker credentials. One of them was a 43-year-old female, and then the other one was a 32-year-old male. They both went through the apprenticeship program together in the same cohort, got their associate's degrees in mechatronics, got both their state of North Carolina and national journey worker credential, and continue to work there today. And so all that to say, I think that it would be simpler for companies to recruit apprentices if they did not overlook the people that are already right there under their roof.
I love that because, so often apprenticeship is thought of, at best it's a parallel path to college, right? We always put in this lens that we already understand, but there are people right there. There are people we can invest in who are excited to be invested in. So I guess my one follow-up here is, say you had a magic wand and you could solve this problem. How would you change that conversation? How would you make it so this is a more obvious way for employers to know they can invest in their existing people?
Well, that is a loaded question. Gosh, I think the biggest thing is from my perspective, like during our discovery calls, I've started making that part of our checklist. So we have a 4-question checklist that says, can you say yes to any of these 4 things? And if so, an apprenticeship might be might be good for you. And one of them is, are you able to recruit a skilled workforce? One of the questions is, do you have knowledge about to be lost through retirement? Are you looking for a way to diversify your workforce pipeline? And then the last one says, do you have employees that you'd like to invest in? And I think almost every company ends up saying yes to that. And that kind of opens up the conversation of, what a low risk opportunity to try out an apprenticeship, somebody you already know, the return on investment is even greater. So I do think that just adding that in the conversation with that initial recruitment checklist has really helped.
Love that, Danielle. For everybody else out there, please don't forget your incumbent workers. They've invested in you, you invest in them. It's a fantastic way to make apprenticeship simpler. So, Danielle, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure. And everybody else,
Yeah.
we'll see you again next time.
Thanks for having me.